What's going on, my dudes? This is Mr. Gardner, and this is Math Time with Mr. G. Today we're going to discuss what's the difference between an exponential growth and an exponential decay. So here's our equation again. Growth is when b is bigger than 1. Decay is when b is less than 1. And stagnant is when b is equal to 1. So again, b is a percent. When it is 1, that means 100% of our population. So let's say in our class there's 30 students. That means we would start with 30. And then we want to keep 100% of them for tomorrow. That means that we would still have 30. But if we wanted our class to grow in size, and let's say we wanted it to grow by 1%, it would be 1.01 for growth. So growth is 100% plus some. Decay is we have 100% minus some. And it is very, very tricky when they say, hey, we have a growth rate of 20%, for you to say 20%. But that's not true. Think about when you go shopping and they say 25% off. What does that really mean? It means you still have to pay for 75% of the product. So if we are going to say, hey, we're going to decay by 20%, that means 100 minus 20, which means we're still keeping 80% of the population the next year. So we're still decaying by 20%, but we're keeping 80. So when we're talking growth rates, we always talk about what we're going to keep. So we're going to keep 100 and then grow some, or we're going to have 100 and lose some, but we're still talking about what we keep. All right, so if they give us this equation and said we want to grow by triple, that means we would have the same amount, and triple means times 3. Decay by 30%, same equation, but it's 1 minus 30 because we talk about what we keep. And growth of 12 would be 1.12. And the last thing we're going to talk about is compound interest formula. So that means we put money in the bank, it's going to grow. Some banks do it every day, every month, once a year, and we're going to talk about what that equation is. So here's our equation, but it's not that far different from. So let's talk about what all these letters mean. A is the amount that we're going to get paid at the end of it. So we put money in the bank, how much money are we going to get back? P stands for principal. Principal is how much money you put into it to start. R is the rate of the loan. N is how many times it's going to get compounded. So if they say yearly, that's going to be 1. But if they say monthly, that's going to be 12 during your time. So if they say, hey, we're going to invest your money, you're going to get a interest every week. Do you want us to reinvest? So that'd be 52. And then T is time, and we generally talk about compound interest in the form of years. So let's say we're going to put $100 in the bank. The growth rate of that bank is 0.1%, and you're going to do it for 18 years. So if you were to put in $100 at 0.1%, you would get $101 18 years later. All right, guys, so if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments section. Other than that, be kind to each other, ask lots of questions, and think deeply.